Welcome everyone to today's show of Bringing Up the Podcast. I am your host, KP. Thank you. Welcome everyone. Today is Tuesday, October the 1st. Yes, today is the first of the month, like Bone Thugs and Harmony. So, what a great show I have for you guys today. Definitely want to talk to you guys about. Last week, I told you guys that the trial has started for the Young Dolph murder case, and one of the young men who was in trial toward the end of last week. The trial didn't even last long, but one of the guys who was in for the murder of young Dolph, Justin Johnson, I believe his name was. So at the end of the week, he was sentenced to life in prison. So he would be spending the rest of his life in prison behind a senseless murder. If you guys didn't remember or don't remember what happened, a little recap from last week. Uh, young Dolph's murderers, because it was two guys who opened fire and two guys got caught. Their murderers had started trial last week, and I believe it the hit was 100,000, but they only got paid 800. Now I don't know if it was 800 a piece or just 800 total, but unfortunately, that didn't end well for anybody. Because the mastermind behind it was Yo Gotti's brother, and unfortunately, he was murdered in the beginning of the year. I want to say he was murdered. So it's crazy how that's going to play out. But once again, like I said, one of the guys he was sentenced to life in prison. So in a situation like this, everybody definitely loses in this type of situation. Everybody, no matter what, everybody loses. Everybody is losing a loved one. So that's unfortunate that that happened. Uh, in other news, yesterday, one of the NBA legends, Dikembe Mutombo, had passed. I believe he was 58, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but I believe he was 58. Uh, yeah, he passed. He was one of the greatest big men to ever play the game. I definitely remember watching Dikembe coming up as a young kid, and I remember you come up in that middle while he's in there. It was Block City. He was definitely one of those fun NBA players to watch. Always brought the energy every night. Man came to work, did his job. He gave you a game every single night. So he would definitely be missed. Condolences to the Dikembe Mutombo family. And yeah, so we lost another legend, guys. Lost another legend. So moving on. In the South and on the East Coast, we're having a strike. The strike started today for the ports. The port workers are asking for an increase of pay, which a lot of people should be because inflation has went up, but the pay didn't go up, which is always keeps the unbalanced world. Uh, and listen, I have been on a port maybe once or twice, and I can tell you, those workers work really hard on that port. They work extremely hard on that port. They work in all type of weather conditions, uh, year round. So definitely, I'm gonna say this, guys. Definitely, I'm gonna say this. By this happening, by this strike happening, the protesting, be looking out. If this prolongs a little further out than expected, be looking out for increasing prices on a lot of goods, essential items, because it's going to be less supply they're going to have. So a lot of people are going to go up on their prices because they don't have that much supply. And not only that, but it'll be harder for them to get it from elsewhere. Even though they can, they're going to pay a little more money. So be looking on, be looking for prices to go up if this continues. So hopefully, upper management with those ports get that resolved in a timely manner, which I'm sure they do because at the end of the day, they're not going to want those containers that comes in off those ships to sit. So, somebody got to touch them, somebody got to move them, put them in the trucks, and the trucks go distribute them. And at the end of the day, people need to get paid. So that's just the bottom line to that. But yeah, so be looking out on excuse me, on price increasing when it comes to the essential items and goods, by the port being shut down because of the guys started to strike. I'm sure their union rep is working. I'm sure their union rep and upper management is working day and night. I'm sure those guys are getting no sleep trying to get this deal done. I assure you on that one. So I know this deal is going to get done pretty quick. Uh, but yeah, guys, listen, going back to the kind of the young Dolph situation, uh, just thinking about it that, listen, I was a major Young Dolph fan. Everything Young Dolph came out with, I was on it. Definitely was a major fan, and knowing a lot of people in Memphis too, he really touched the community in Memphis. Also, he did a lot of positive things in Memphis, a lot of great things in the community. I believe it was a cookie shop that he was murdered at, and that was one of those cookie shops where he supported black owned. So he went there all the time when he was at home to support him. And I think we don't do enough of that. That case shows how much we hate on each other. If you got 10 more dollars than me, you know, in our community, we have lack of support when it comes to each other, and I think that's sad. I think that's just a part of, people say it's like a nature thing, that happened to us during slavery, which could be true. Of course, the white man always wanted the black people to hate up on each other, so he'll put certain people in the house and give certain people privileges that the other people out on the field didn't have. Maybe one black guy always went with him on business trips, but the other black guys didn't. They had to work in the field, so they see this guy riding, fly, looking good, and naturally they started hating. That's how the hate became upon each other, telling upon each other. I'll kill your family if you don't tell me where he's at. Then the other family find out. It's just, it's a lot happening, and it just grew up. It just grew over time, and we have to break that curse. At some point, we have to break that curse. Support each other, be there for each other, because guess what? The enemy is not us. The enemy is not us. If you look around, they are trying to wipe all our communities out. They are trying to take us from being the second minorities in this world to being the fourth minorities in this world. It's happening right in front of your eyes, guys. I mean, a lot of you guys don't see it because we're so caught up on like Facebook and Instagram, TikTok. We're so caught up on people entertaining us that we're not paying attention to the interior of the world and what's happening to the money, financials, everything about what's happening and going on at today's time. Listen, guys, if you guys don't know, there's a lot of CEOs within the last 3 weeks has been resigning. I'm talking about from major corporations, banking, music industry. Listen, a lot of CEOs has been resigning. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to that. That's not normal. That's not normal. Just saying that's not normal, guys. Something's happening. But if you're not aware of what's happening in the world, then you're gonna be left behind. So I'm telling you guys, they are trying to push black people further and further back. Look at what's happening to the mayor of Chicago. I'm sorry, of New York, Eric Adams. On this Fed indictment charge. Look what's happening to Puff Daddy. I touched up on that last week. That has nothing to do with no sex parties. Think about it. Hugh Hefner is known for Playboy Mansion. Oh, what y'all think was going on in there? They was playing Uno? Come on, man. Sex parties. They're gonna hit Diddy for sex parties. They're gonna take all these women, supposedly, and say, hey, did he do that to you? They're gonna be like, yeah. They're gonna be like, here's your payout. Come on, man. They did it to Bill Cosby. They do that because they understand we may have money, but we don't have the power. We got to gain the power. See, a lot of us are gaining money, but we're not gaining the power. And how you gain power? Once we gain the money collectively, then we have to come together collectively. J. Edgar Hoover, I don't know if you guys know who J. Edgar Hoover is, but J. Edgar Hoover was the FBI leader. He was over the whole FBI in the United States during the 50s and like 60s. And I remember an interview that I watched, I pulled up on the internet, and the reporter asked J. Edgar Hoover, he said, "What is the greatest threat to America?" And without hesitation, he didn't think about it or anything. He said, "Black unity." Black unity is the greatest threat to America. It's a reason why they're trying to push us further and further back and not trying to give us that. But the reason why they're not going to give us that is because we're not going to take it. We're not coming to take it. We're too busy hating on each other instead of coming together and take power. We can do it. They know we can do it. That's why they do what they do to us. Man, listen, I'll be here all day preaching to y'all about that type of stuff, man. Listen, this is KP. This is Bringing Up the Podcast. You guys have a great evening.